Hello everyone. I am Meghana PS, Assistant Professor in Commerce, Government First Aid College, Bharamsagra. I am discussing the subject Financial Markets and Services, in which the module 5th Mutual Funds. In this session, I am discussing the functioning of mutual funds in India. This is the continuation part of last two previous sessions. The objective of this session is to know about the functioning of mutual funds in India, and by the end of this session you are aware about the functioning of mutual funds in India. SEBI issues guidelines with related to mutual funds in its SEBI Mutual Fund Regulations 1996. In the previous session, I discussed three of the guidelines related to schemes, investment norms, and expenses. Let's see the guidelines related to income distribution. A mutual fund may declare dividends in accordance with the offer document and subject to such guidelines as may be specified by the board. In the offer document, there is a specification which is related to income distribution. So they follow that specification and it is subjected to the guidelines by the board of directors. And every mutual fund and asset management company shall dispatch to the unit holders the dividend warrants within 30 days of the declaration of the dividend. So within 30 days of declaration of dividends, the unit holders should get the dividend warrants and dispatch the redemption or repurchase proceeds within 10 working days from the date of redemption or repurchase. After the maturity period, when the unit holders redeem their funds, at that time, within 10 working days, the proceeds of redemption or repurchase should be dispatched to the unit holders. Next, guidelines related to disclosure and reporting. Every asset management company for each scheme shall keep and maintain proper books of accounts, records and documents. So, asset management company should keep the records for individual schemes to explain its transaction and to disclose at any point of time the financial position of each scheme. So, when they prepare the accounts for individual scheme, whenever it is required, they can say the financial position of individual schemes, and it provides the true and fair view of the state of affairs of the funds. Next, every asset management company shall maintain and preserve for a period of 8 years its books of accounts, records and documents. So these documents should be preserved for 8 years. And the financial year for all the schemes shall end as of March 31st each year. So the financial year is 1st April to 31st March. And every mutual fund shall have the annual statement of accounts audited by an auditor who is not in any way associated with the auditor of the asset management company, which means that every mutual fund's annual statement should be audited by the auditor who is not an auditor of the asset management company. And every mutual fund shall within 4 months from the date of closure of each financial year forward to the board a copy of the annual report and other information including details of investment and deposits held by the mutual fund, so that entire scheme wise portfolio the mutual funds is disclosed to the board. Means within the 4 months of year end, the financial statement should be prepared, that is annual report should be prepared and it should be forwarded to the board of directors. The scheme-wise annual report of mutual fund or an abridged summary thereof shall be mailed to all unit holders as soon as may be, but not later than 4 months from the date of closure of the relevant account year. So, the summary of the annual report should be mailed to the unit holders of the scheme. So, within 4 months of the closure of the year. With related to guidelines about the winding up, A close-ended scheme shall be wind up on the expiry of duration fixed in the scheme on the redemption of the units unless it is rolled over for a further period. As we know, in the close-ended scheme, we have a maturity period. So after that expiry date, the close-ended schemes will be wind up. In case of open-ended scheme, it is going to be wind up on the happening of the event which, in the opinion of the trustees, requires the scheme to be wound up. Means if trustees opine that the scheme should be wind up, so at that time the wind up of open-ended schemes can be happen, or if 75% of unit holders of the scheme pass a resolution that scheme be wound up. If the 75% of a unit holders has an opinion that to wind up the company and they pass a resolution, then the open-ended scheme will be wind up. Or if the board so directs in the interest of the unit holders, means if board of directors suggest to wind up the scheme in the interest of unit holders, at that time also open-ended schemes will be wind up. Guidelines related to violation of rules. So if any mutual funds violated the rules, then they are dealt according to the rules or procedures mentioned in Securities and Exchange Board of India procedure for holding enquiry by enquiry officer and imposing penalty regulations 2002. Let's sum up this session. In this session, we discussed about the SEBI guidelines with related to mutual funds, with regard to income distribution, disclosure and reporting, winding up, and in case of violation of guidelines. These are the references for your further reading. I hope you understood the functioning of mutual funds in India. Thank you all.